people try and escape the dollar. We've been taught that there are no other options, but you know there are other options. You know that you can hold physical gold and silver in your possession and run no political risk, no inflation risk, and no counterparty risk. You know this because you listen to this video. I mean, we are getting close. And honestly, this is what the Russian-Ukraine war is telling me, because wars always accompany currency regime shifts. And we already know that we're in one. They've been working toward it since 2009. This is not going away. So this, to me, is an indication of how close we are to that great overnight reset. Because, Powell's trying to tell us, and I thought it was really interesting too, because he actually admitted that inflation was a monetary policy phenomenon. That's right. When we were on the gold standard, we didn't have inflation. Now, sometimes the gold would be worth more or less depending upon what the economy was doing, but that was really a supply-demand side thing. Once we went into a debt-based system, that changed. So I was glad that he actually admitted that. He's also saying that he expects inflation to go down by the end of this year in the second half. It's garbage. Not going to happen. You've got oil that intraday hit $111 a barrel. You've got natural gas that went up, 50% yesterday? Now, those spikes could indeed be transitory, but there are too many unknowns that are happening right now, and so much of this is sticky, because even though those increased wages are a lot higher than they were, they still aren't keeping pace with the inflation. Oh no, I'll put my neck on the line. I'm basically, I'm like, no, I'm not even going to give myself any out. There's no way in God's green earth. And they're not doing anything to control the inflation. They're still, they're still ratcheting up the money, and they're still not raising the rates. So it's garbage. It's just garbage. The Great Reset is resetting the current social, economic, and financial system from the way that it's currently constructed into an entirely new system. Hence, reset. You're resetting everything. Additionally, since the current system is based on debt, they are resetting the debt by revaluing the currency. So if you have just fiat money products or fiat money like dollars, euros, yen, renminbi, etc., and they restructure that, they reset that valuation a lot lower, then you end up with nothing. So this is why it's critically important to own gold. I think everybody's seen how much change, how much reset we've already come to. And if the World Economic Federation has its way, you will own nothing and you'll be happy. So resetting that structure from one of ownership to one of rentership, I guess you would call it. So that's what a reset is. It's a structural change. Gold as a physical metal, I mean, we saw it with Turkey and Iran. We saw it with Venezuela using their gold to buy stuff from other countries. So actually, gold is universal money. This is the easiest part, knowing there are all kinds of embargoes and sanctions. What has that got to do with gold? Nothing. So if they want to buy something from India or Iran or China or somewhere else, and they can't use the SWIFT system, they can use their gold. It's universal money. And this is, and I'll also just kind of point out here, the whole world is watching what the U.S. is doing with SWIFT. And what they're seeing, just like the individuals should have seen what happened in Canada, that if they can cut you off at the knees and eliminate your ability to function in the normal market, you got a problem. So is this going to hasten the end of the US dollar as the world reserve currency? All good citizens always pay all taxes that are due. And I will also tell you, I am not a tax accountant, but I can also, the way that it would work, if you're dealing with a large corporation, this is probably not going to be an option for you because they want everything to shift through the system. But if you're working with an individual, and particularly once the hyperinflation starts, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I do have some vendors that I have definitely paid for services with, or even, even goods with using gold and silver. I don't like to do that at this point because I don't like to divest myself of it. I'm accumulating. However, I have used that, and I don't, I pay all my taxes that are due. That's not a battle that I want to take on. But the way that it works is that I'm sitting and I'm talking to, let's say it's an attorney, for example, and they say, okay, well, your retainer is $5,000 or something like that. I might say, well, you have some options. Either I can write you a check, I can use a credit card, which means it's going to cost them more money, or I can do part of it or all of it, whatever you want, in physical gold. Now it's up to them to declare that as income. That's not my job. So that's how it works, though. You have an individual that agrees to this. And as we go into hyperinflation, I'm going to tell you, if you're buying something big, particular, if you're buying anything, like we've seen in Venezuela and other countries, Zimbabwe, etc., that have been going through this, whoever's selling you whatever it is, whether it's food or a haircut or anything like that, they actually want to be paid, prefer to be paid in gold and silver versus the currency that they're very well aware has no value. And what we also know is if you don't hold it, you don't own it. And that should be really, really clear to everybody, because I said that for many, many years, but now we're seeing that unfold. So there is no place to keep funds from seizure, whether it's an overt seizure like a government going in and taking it, or an inflationary seizure, which is something that you've lived with from the day you were born. That is not going to stop until there's absolutely no purchasing power value left. And I don't mean slowly, I mean in a rapid hyperinflationary event. We're in the last days. There's no doubt in my mind. We are near the very, very end.